Innocent blood. So far in the previous lessons, we saw a heavenly meeting. We read about Job's family's destruction and his lamentations, and we met some of his closest acquaintances. We heard their opinion. We learned what is their standpoint, but we never heard what is the defendant's, what is Job's response to that. And this week, we look at the defendant's speech and arguments.
Before we move to Job, I have to say this. As Christians, we are guilty as Job's friends. Saying things that are probably true in another context but have nothing to do with the current issue is wrong. We blame, we accuse, we think that we explain things, that we defend God, but all that we do is damage. We distort the image of God. This is serious, and we should understand the responsibility. Such cases and circumstances where we are in the position of the friend are not about us. It's about a struggling humanity with many questions and God, who wants to be there for us in every step.
And it is clear that Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar strongly believed that Job was bearing the consequences of his own actions, although completely unspecified by them. Job, in chapter 10, reveals his state of mind, and to the surprise of all, he didn't see any reason for God to punish him. "Tell me, what are the charges you have against me?" Job asked God in verse 2. And a little further on he stated, "You know that I'm not guilty," in verse 6. And now, I'm thinking, how is it possible that Job's friends were so much disconnected from what was his absolute belief?
This lesson voiced some very serious questions. There are not many answers yet, but some very important questions are clearly voiced. The first one is Job's protest. Why are you doing this to me, God? Am I the worst guy on earth? I don't deserve this. I was trying to do my best to be good, and this is what I get? Don't just play the God card on me. I am not okay with this.
And here is where the lesson, in my opinion at least, makes a surprisingly 360 degrees turn. Just when I expected that it will expand and it will deepen on the understanding of the position of what is Job's beliefs in contrast to his friends, the author talks about innocent blood, referring to Job's family and children who didn't deserve what happened to them. With the next paragraph in the lesson, it is clarified with Bible verses that we are, after all sinners. And your birth certificate is proof of your guilt. So, Job is sinful. However, I wonder, what about everything that Job says in chapter 10? Doesn't it raise a different understanding of God, a different understanding of the origin of suffering? Doesn't it raise a protest against exactly that sinful explanation that explains all the sufferings? Or we can simply wash our hands and tag Job as all men being sinful. Hence, voila, it explains all misfortunes in his life.
The lesson doesn't bring this as explanation. It does, however, make the point that, yes, according to the Bible, we are all indeed sinners. This is not so easy thing to cope with. Yes, we are all sinners. Our nature is sinful. We can't survive in God's presence, and nothing really good can come up out of us on our own. We desperately need Jesus. In the same time, many of us are trying to be good. We are doing our best, and the best stuff happening to us are not because we deserved it. Our kids bear sin in them, but they are innocent. And suffering is not deserved.
In two of the parts that follow in the lesson, the concept of unfairness dominates the discussion. First, Eliphaz touches on the topic of all surrounding sinfulness in this world, and how the wicked man shakes his fist at God. This way painting a one-colored picture of the world as evil and corrupt, and in this way unfair. And second, the lesson lists various examples from the Bible of lives that are being unfairly treated, and concludes with Jesus confirming the same reality by saying, "Sufficient for the day is its evil." So we have no other choice but to conclude and to acknowledge that there is evil in our daily life.
We are sensitive to fairness, and what we often have to experience is that life is unfair. So many people dying from cancer, terrorism, bad circumstances, broken families, broken relationships, broken hearts, depressions. No, it's not for good. It's evil. It's bad. Don't try to excuse it or explain it. It's interesting that the lesson brings in the Sermon on the Mount. We have to be careful to properly understand that. There is no blessing in the suffering. The blessing is in the relationship with God, in the trust that He will take care of things, and not to worry, because sufficient for the day is its own trouble.
So we are left in a struggle with a question: how do we account for suffering? Suffering that makes no sense to us. And it is hard. It is hard to give a satisfying answer. It is hard to make any sense of what somebody is going through. Interestingly, the Bible offers a getaway: to trust in God, not to trust on our own understanding, as Proverbs 3:5 says. So unnatural for us. And I believe the story of Job is a testimony for that kind of trust, an experience of trust that brought him out of his despair.
I don't think that we got many clear answers this week either, but we voiced some honest questions. And kind of in between things, the lesson introduced into the subject the notion of faith, substance of things hoped for, evidence of things not seen. God knows our suffering. He is working on it. He asks us to trust Him and to bring our worries to Him. This is what faith is about.
What follows next? Tune in to Short Points again next week, when we'll be looking at the lesson Imitation of Hope.